You know, when it comes to the basketball section of sports games, the only thing we really have is 2K. Even though EA Sports didn't necessarily announce that they were discontinuing the NBA Live series, it's been like 5 or 6 years since we've had a new one, so technically it is discontinued. And even if they were to come back, I don't think they would have the same reputation that they used to have to go against 2K in the first place. So for the most part, 2K is the only basketball game out, period. Up until now, no other company besides EA has been able to make basketball games to go against 2K. But as of 3 days ago, that's gonna change come next year. 3 days ago, it's been announced that we're getting a new NBA Streetball game titled NBA The Run, set to release next year in 2026. Now, the way it's looking, while NBA 2K is set to be a simulation game, quotation marks around simulation, NBA The Run seems to be a lot more arcadey. More so in the sense of it looks like it's trying to replicate NBA Street rather than 2K or Live. Now, me personally, I'm excited for it because I've said in the past, I don't think a single company should have 100% control over a single property. I'm a fan of competition. There's no reason why 2K should be the only one making basketball games. And that's not just for 2K, it's an in general thing. Competition breeds a need for creativity. Now, in terms of competition, I don't know what it's going to look like because in comparison to the NBA, that game is meant to replicate real life NBA games into video game form. With the exception of Park and My Team and shit, you know, obviously it structures itself, the base game structures itself around the real life league. The Run, however, is a 3v3 streetball game. So it's really a matter of what you want. If you're someone who wants to play a simulation NBA game, I don't think you're going to look at this as competition, but if you don't care what kind of game it is, as long as it's basketball, I think this might be for you. Like growing up, I could never really imagine having to pick between NBA Street and EA Sports NBA Live because I played them for two different reasons. There was one common reason, obviously I like basketball, but simulation basketball can be a little stiff or boring at times. Sometimes I want something new and different, and that's when NBA Street would come in. The Street games were the pure embodiment of not only creativity, but that era of video games in general. Like EA Sports Big would take a real life property, twist it around and turn it into something extreme and creative for you to play. SSX, NFL Street, the Def Jam games, and in terms of the conversation, NBA Street. Dunking on someone is cool, but dunking on somebody after doing a fucking backflip off the backboard, that's something completely different. That's something you could do in those games. Now, I don't know if NBA The Run is going to be as extreme as the old NBA Street games. Like, I don't know if they're going to have game breakers or some shit like that. But I do hope they at least follow in its footsteps. Rather than grounding yourself in realism like 2K or the Live games did, lean into the insanity. Go fucking crazy. Do wild shit. That's what made the Street games fun to me. It was the insanity of it all. Now, obviously, we're gonna have to wait a year to see if they do that. All we really have is like a couple trailers. But judging by one aspect, I do think the Street games were a really big influence on this game. While watching the trailer, I noticed that the announcer throughout the entire thing was Bobbito Garcia. For y'all who don't know, that's the same announcer from NBA Street Volume 2 and 3. Now for me, that's a really good sign. One of the issues I had with Home Court was that they didn't have him. I felt like the best thing about NBA Street Volume 2 and 3, gameplay and game breakers aside, obviously, was the announcer. He went hand in hand with the gameplay. The way he announced, he was just as entertaining as the actual game. I feel like Garcia's announcing helped give the game more life than it already had. No disrespect to the announcer of the first game, but Garcia was way fucking better. Hell, who knows? Maybe they'll pull an NBA Street and actually make him a playable character in the game. As I said, him being in the game is a really good sign. Now, quick fun fact about this game, this isn't the first trailer that we've seen from it. Apparently a year ago, we saw another one. It was titled The Run Got Next. It was completely different. The visuals are relatively the same, but I remember when I first saw the trailer, for starters, the characters were originally made. They didn't have NBA stars yet. And secondly, maybe this is me being biased because they didn't have NBA players yet. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, man, I didn't have too much faith in it. When I first saw it, I thought to myself, okay, it's probably gonna be another free play version of 3-on-3 freestyle. Y'all remember that basketball game like what, 10 years ago? I didn't care too much for it. It was cool that another company was doing a basketball game, but I was hoping said company would do something with NBA players. Fast forward a year later, I don't know how they did it, but they managed to get licensed by the NBA to use their players, all the while remodeling the title of the game from Got Next to NBA The Run. Them having NBA players in it instead, it makes me feel like it's a lot more legitimate and it has probably a bigger budget attached to it. Because unlike NBA Street, they don't have an EA Sports behind it making the game. It's actually being developed by Play-by-Play Studios. Now, I don't know anything about Play-by-Play Studios. Matter of fact, I literally just looked them up just now to see if I get any information on them. And I'm on their website and I guess they seem okay. Actually, fun fact, their motto is, "We bend the rules for fun." According to their website, we aim to create sports games that just don't exist today. Games that are blatantly fun, that bring people together with handcrafted worlds and characters, all through the love of the sport. We're here to change the game. Man, I ain't gonna lie, when I read that shit, all I heard was we bringing NBA Street back. And I am fully aware that my bias towards the need for that game to be revived is the reason why I believe that. I don't mind being delusioned. You can't end the series off a home court. So if NBA The Run is the closest thing I can get to filling NBA Street in 2026, I'll take it. I'm not picky. I'll play anything, as long as it's not a Telltale game. And you know what? I'm looking at this as this could be the modern NBA Street thing, right? But when I look at their website, I feel like it could do a lot more than that. If this game turns out to be what I want it to be or what I hope it to be, and it turns out to be successful, that could branch out to other different games. Because they didn't just say basketball, they said sports games in general. NBA wasn't the only thing that got a street version. There's also NFL and FIFA. Snowboarding included. I can't remember the last time we had an SSX game. Everything about what I read on their website makes me feel like they're trying to be the modern day equivalent to EA Sports Big. So if NBA The Run turns out to be successful, they could make an NFL The Run or a FIFA The Run. Who knows? But that could just be wishful thinking. And as for the trailer, something I forgot to mention is the way it's looking. What they're going to do is they're taking Streetball and they're kind of going to do what EA Sports did with The Run in NBA Live 19. They're taking real life Streetball locations and they're putting it into the game. Does that mean they're going to have every single location that NBA Live 19 had? I don't know. I don't know how far their reach is. Because Live 19, they were in Brazil, Paris, London. They were everywhere. And I think in the trailer, the street location that they used was also from Live 19. It was a Streetball location in Brazil. Can't remember the name, but it's in The Run. So far, we only really have one trailer to look at, so there's not much we can really say about the game as a whole. All we really can do is sit back and wait. Now, I do want to say this. I don't know how they're going to price this game. I don't know if it's going to be free to play. I don't know what. But if they do price it, I really hope it's not $70. This doesn't seem like it needs to be a $70 game. I don't even remember how much the NBA Street games used to be, but I don't ever remember paying $50 or $60 for them. I don't think this needs to be any more than like $20 or $30. But that's depending on how much content that they have. But out of all the Streetball games I've played, not a single one of them was worth over $40-ish. But even with the street games, they were backed by EA. So it's kind of not really a surprise that they would be up in price. This is a new studio to my knowledge. Ain't no way in hell they should be charging $30. And speaking of pricing, microtransactions. I pray to God they don't pull a 2K, which I don't understand why they would. I think that also depends on whether or not you're able to make your own character and use said character in online portions of the game. Like, imagine you buy this shit and you gotta pay like $20, $30 to get your created character from an overall 60 to a 90 just so you can play Streetball online for a brand new Streetball game that has no credibility. I don't think they do it. I don't think they do it. That's the 2K PTSD talking, but I'm just putting that out there. It's funny because with The Run coming out next year, It reminded me that we actually have another basketball game coming out pretty soon. Well, not pretty soon. It's going to be like, what, 2 or 3 years. But EA Sports is bringing back college basketball. I think the article or post said that it was coming back in like 2027. I don't know, but between the run coming out next year and college basketball coming out the year after, it's starting to look like we're going back to that stage of we have other basketball games to play outside of one company. And that's a good thing. And one of the basketball games in question, even though it's not an NBA simulation as 2K is, it's a lot more grounded than an NBA The Run. That's like 3 different basketball games you can play within a 2-year span of time. Maybe more. As I said, if NBA The Run is successful, we could get another one the year after. It could be an entire series. As long as they don't mess it up, I think we cool. Now, that's all I really got for y'all in terms of NBA The Run. That's really all I got for y'all in terms of this video. 2026 is looking pretty cool, man. There's a number of games I'm looking out for next year. You know, we got Lego Batman, Legacy of the Dark Knight, that's coming out. Onimusha, Way of the Sword, that's another action adventure coming out next year. I think 007 is coming out next year. 007 First Light, that's another game that I forgot about a couple months ago that got announced for next year. Fable's getting a reboot. The Witcher's getting a 4th game. Hell, Gears of War E-Day is finally being released. I damn near forgot about that. I'm pretty sure the Wolverine game is coming out next year.